Here I sit with a cigarette burning, all alone, and you're not here. All by myself and no one to talk to. Thinking about you, well, it's all I can do.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Sunday, August 30th. I'm J.E. Skeets, and joining us here, as always, Tass Mellis.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Tassie, we got the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey-o. We've got the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And last but not least, making the magic happen, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday. If you're looking for our Celtics Raptors preview and predictions, check out yesterday's podcast. The one we posted on Saturday. We got into it on that one. We did learn this morning, Kyle Lowry is available for game one, which tips a few hours from now. Are we coming over to watch game one at your house, Tass?
No, COVID rules say no, my friend.
Let's watch it outside, man.
I don't have that ability.
How's that pause thumb working though?
Oh, always good. Always
good.
I'm checking for all those fans out there. Yeah, I used to check for Raptors home games to scan the crowd and figured I'd find somebody in those 10,000 suits that I knew. Once a playoff, I would find somebody. Once a playoff. It would always pay off. It would always piss off the guests as I paused and looked for somebody, but it'd always pay off. Now, I'm not looking for virtual fans. Not going to happen.
No, that's too tough. Later on today's pod, we're going to break down the Heat Bucks second round series, so stick around for that. But first, let's start with Saturday's games. We'll begin with the Thunder Rockets series. Harden scores 31. Westbrook returns. Rockets beat the Thunder quite handily for the 3-2 series lead. Lots to break down, I feel, though, from this game. Who wants to get us started, Tess?
Yeah, I'll get us started. 80 points the Thunder put up against this Houston Rockets defense that people were questioning coming into the postseason. And a big part of the story is Lou Dort, OKC Thunder wing player that the Rockets are just leaving open. Hey, you shoot it, and it was not going in. For the majority of this game, he was 1 for 9 in the first quarter. He was clanking. He didn't hit a three all game long, 3 of 16 overall. And everybody focusing on that. He is supposed to be the James Harden stopper, but at the other end, they're playing 4-on-5 because they're really just guarding the other 4 guys with their 5 guys and letting Lou Dort go. But at the same time, it was like the Thunder were playing 3-on-5 because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had as many points as turnovers, and Danilo Gallinari didn't hit a basket the whole game. So it was a combination of a bunch of things. And then the Thunder somehow got back in this game with Dennis Schröder coming back on the floor. They always get back from these double-digit deficit.
Yeah.
Triple D. That always happens with this team when they bring Dennis Schröder back onto the floor, and we'll get to Schröder in a second. But I think just to try and solve the problem along with Billy Donovan, I think he's got to keep Lou Dort on the floor. I think that's fine. I think you just have to mix it up a little bit. He has to mix up his game a little bit, get him involved in screen and rolls where you kind of have some things going on there. You got to kind of pick. But also, I think he's got to keep shooting the three. And if not, it kind of works. He has to drive. Like they are leaving him entirely open. He's got a lane. He can drive to the lane, and then when he misses, everybody kind of comes over and has to help off Steven Adams. Steven Adams can get an offensive rebound. I think you can drive. There's a combination of things. And he hit 3 threes in game 4, and everything was totally fine. I think if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander finds his game a little bit and finds his defense a little bit, and Gallinari is not an ofer, then we're not really talking about Lou Dort as much. But Lou Dort has the ability to get around the rim when there's a friggin' wide open lane too. So he's got to drive more. And again, because they're all over the place, they can recover and be late when they're trying to recover, I should say. And then Steven Adams can get some some little chippies in there along with Lou Dort. But as soon as he gets in there and Lou Dort gets in there and starts passing, then that's not so good. It just straight line for the bucket, and that's it. But listen, Billy Donovan's got to get more creative, I think.
Yeah.
But I think you do keep him on the floor because the rest of the Thunder guards and wings are pretty holy as well in their games. They're not going to secure things.
That was tough. I was thinking, is Billy Donovan going to pull Lou Dort for the knockdown shooting of Andre Robertson? That's how bad it got. But basically, there were 4 players for the Thunder who couldn't score yesterday in their starting lineup, and that's why they ended with 80 points, like you're saying. Gallinari, invisible. Dort was a brick fest. Steven Adams, he had 12, but like 12 points from Steven Adams just means he's grabbing a couple of offensive rebounds and putting them back in. That's not actual scoring. And then, like you're saying, Tass, SGA just looked completely shell-shocked. He was getting roasted on defense. He wasn't doing anything on offense. Chris Paul was having to give him a few little talkings to, and it just didn't go over well. Shea's got to he's got to be at worst their third best player, you would think, at least just doing things off the dribble if they're going to be playing a little bit of small ball. But it was just a disaster for the Thunder yesterday. Tough night to be a homer.
Yeah. I mean, Lou Dort is no doubt officially Tony Allen 2.0.
Oh.
That is both the greatest compliment in the world and the biggest diss in the world at the exact same time, because Tass took us through it there. They're just leaving him, just saying, we're going to let you chuck away, man. It's not a pretty looking shot. Your confidence is obviously shot as you miss. And he's got to try something different, but use him as a screener. I think that is a great idea. And they actually did, Tass, like 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. I put it in my notes because I had written down like, okay, try something else. Don't have them just parked at the 3-point line because that's not working. They're just leaving them. And yeah, you want them to keep shooting it with some confidence. You're open. You're an NBA player. You got to shoot it. But they used him as a screener, and it was beautiful. He slipped it. Dennis Schroeder, nice pass, and he scored a nice, simple little layup. I would have liked to see a little bit more of that.
I guess you can do that more often, though, when Steven Adams isn't on the floor.
Yes.
Adams wasn't on there, or else they're getting in each other's way. But, yeah, you can have 4 spread with Lou Dort basically as your center for sure.
Yeah. And another thing we had talked about was this Thunder team. And Trey, again, you like perfectly went through the box score really, and all these guys giving them offers. I mean, they don't have the guy. We said they don't really have the guy that can like, okay, I got us tonight. I'll get us to 40 or 50. It's not Chris Paul. Even Schroeder, is going to cap out around the 30 mark. And again, we'll get to his incident. But yeah, all these guys just picked the exact same night to just disappear, especially SGA and Gallinari. I tweeted, is Gallinari playing? Like the first quarter went by and I hadn't even like noticed he was out there. His name wasn't mentioned, and people were like, well, he did lose his shoe. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one thing Gallinari did all game. He lost his shoe, and then he couldn't even put that on all that quickly. 1 point in 22 minutes, didn't hit a shot, and had 4 turnovers. I was like, what is wrong with him? I know SGA had a rough game too, but like Gallinari, I was like, is he injured? Did something happen away from the bubble? He was just, you wouldn't have known it was a pivotal game 5 lead with the way some of the Thunder guys were playing. They really were just like zombies. Yeah.
I felt bad for Spiro Dedes on the call as well, because he kept saying Gallinari, but he wasn't really performing for him, so he couldn't really get into it. But I think also, though, what we are probably not doing is giving the Houston Rockets enough credit, because what I thought yesterday was important when the Thunder took that lead, and it sort of felt like maybe the Rockets offense had slowed down a little bit. Then Harden hits a 3, gets it back in. But then in the second half, when they built up that lead, what I think they did better in game 5 than they did badly in game 3 and 4 is they didn't just stay shooting threes. They drove inside, and they could score any time they want inside. Eric Gordon got a ton of layups, and James Harden actually got some quite easily as well. And I think that's the other point about the Thunder is their offense, while it was awful yesterday, their defense outside of Dort was not much better. The Rockets had so many uncontested or wide open looks, and they knocked them in. And I think that's the key with the Rockets. The point I was trying to make the other day is they need to find a way to keep the scoreboard ticking, because in that game 4, when they fell apart, they just the 3-point wasn't going in, and that was all they were doing. In this game, it was like they built that lead up to 6 and then to 8 points, and then if the Thunder scored, then they'd go back to another layup and just sort of keep that lead in that sort of buffer zone. And I think that's the sort of variety that they need a little bit more of in their offense. And if they do that, they're going to win game 6 easily if they just continue to drive, because there was no resistance. Steven Adams, I mean, he's out there because he's supposed to be the big, and he's supposed to be sort of deterrent. He was awful yesterday. And as I say, no one from OKC, I thought, showed any resistance to Houston. So a very convincing win. And I did think they mixed up their game enough to basically take it out of OKC's reach, because those guys as well, when you mentioned, Alexander was bad yesterday, Chris Paul, he's the guy who is capable of going for 35 still, but you just don't want that to be your offense. You need the younger guys to do it. And that wasn't happening. And when they were down big, they just weren't able to get back into the game like they were in game 3 and 4, because Houston didn't give them that opportunity.
Yeah. And I mean, it's tough. You're right. I mean, did we gloss over how well the Rockets played? It just felt like the Thunder were also giving them the ball half the time.
Yeah.
I mean, at the start of the second half, it was like a Covington 3, 2 brutal Dort turnovers where he just gave them the ball. And then you're right, a few Rocket layups because they were attacking. That was an 8-0 run, timeout, and then that continued. It was a 19-2 run, and the game was basically over. But you are right. I mean, Harden had a great game. He played another phenomenal game. Like we hold like his box scores are so insane that he has a normal. It's still a great box score, and you're like, we don't even mention it. But what did you think of Westbrook, Trey? He's 7 points, 6 boards, 7 assists in limited minutes, which was the game plan. What do you think? Did him just being out there help the Rockets, or was this just a case of the Thunder playing like garbage in Game 5?
Both. I think having Westbrook back is just a little bit of an emotional boost for Houston. We talked about early in the series, it seemed like he was having an effect on the sideline, getting everybody going and getting everybody fired up, but eventually you want him to play. The problem is that even before he was sitting with an injury, he was sitting to rest that injury. He's played 1 game since August 4th. Now he's played 2 games, and last night, or yesterday, I don't even remember what time this game was on yesterday. He was rusty, and that's fine. If you don't play NBA basketball for a month and then you go into the playoffs, it's going to be tough. But having him out there is just another guy who can help you on the glass, who can give you a threat of somebody to create off the dribble and can raise the intensity a little bit. He shot 3 for 13. That could be a Westbrookian kind of night where you lose a game, but on a night where everybody else has it going, it's not a big deal. 11 for 15. For James Harden. Dort was making it tough, but Dort was also getting roasted. And then Eric Gordon, 9 for 17. It looked like he could get to the rim anytime he wanted.
Yeah, the bowling ball, Eric Gordon, when he gets going, it's the guys bounce off him. Yeah, you're right. Westbrook just gave them the spark, I think Mike D'Antoni talked about after the game. He had one like really early in the game, like Brody in transition, Adams backpedaling, stop, pop, splashed it. But yeah, otherwise he sort of struggled with the shot, but he set guys up and he just gets them going. And then the threes, like they happen in rhythm a little bit more, Lee, when you can get down the floor a little quicker because Westbrook's pushing it and guys are getting to their corner spots and it's pinging around a little bit more and you're a little bit more in rhythm with some of those shots or attacking. Okay, let's get to the incident between Dennis Schröder and PJ Tucker. Both guys getting tossed. Tass, do you think we will see a suspension coming down from the league for either of these guys? Now, Schröder, after they looked at it, the uppercut to the nuts, and then PJ Tucker with the very soft, gentle headbutt from behind. That was enough to warrant ejection, but will either guys get a game here? What do you think?
I don't think so, and I hope not, because that would be the end of this series. If Dennis Schröder gets suspended specifically, it's done. There's no way that OKC can make Game 6 a Game 6 without Dennis Schröder. And I think PJ Tucker's headbutt was gentle enough, and it was almost after like 5 seconds of jawing at the back of Dennis Schröder's head, like he was talking to Dennis Schröder's head. Nice haircut, nice haircut, nice haircut. I like your hair. I like the way you got that fade going. Which barber from here in the bubble did you get it done? And then he gently bumped his head. So it wasn't an egregious "I'm coming at you" type of headbutt. Sure. It was questionable on both sides. Did they know that Dennis Schröder punched him in the nuts when they went to go check on the flagrant foul from PJ Tucker, or for the flagrant act from PJ Tucker? I don't think so. They just saw it afterward. And does that matter when it comes to suspension? Probably not. But I don't think that was enough. And it was crazy. I didn't see it whatsoever. It sure seemed like it was intentional after the fact that Dennis Schröder hit him down there, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, the really reason I ask of whether or not you think it would get a game for Dennis Schröder for the uppercut to the nuts is, and Larry Luke, our friend Larry Luke, pointed out on Twitter, Dennis Schröder in like his 4th or 5th game with the Hawks, way back when, got a game for sort of squeezing / punching DeMarcus Cousins in the groin. And the league gave him one. Now it's a regular season. He's basically brand new to the league. Maybe they're trying to send a message to him. Hey, we don't do that here. But I'm with you. I don't think ultimately either of these guys get a game, and nor do I think it's warranted. I almost would say tossing them both was like maybe.
Oh, come on. You guys are too
a little harsh.
You guys are too nice when it comes to people punching other people in the nuts. This is the second nut smack for the Thunder this series. This is the second in Dennis Schroeder's career. He's obviously learning from Chris Paul, who punched Ben McLemore in the nuts and has a history of nut punching in his career dating back to his college years. You can't punch other players in the nuts. You should at least be kicked out of the game. I wouldn't be surprised if Schroeder's suspended, and that would be a problem for OKC. He's been their best player so far.
Well, guys do accidentally punch people in the nuts.
Dennis
And
Schroeder's
kick people.
an accident?
I'm just telling you. I mean, many guys have been kicked in the nuts and not immediately ejected, so it does happen. I was more saying Tucker, by the way, I don't think warranted an ejection for what he did. But I don't think they're going to get a game. Lee, do you agree? What?
Yeah, I think they do survive this one because, if you go back to the Giannis headbutt in the regular bubble season here, where he kind of walked up to Mo Wagner and smacked him right in the head. In this case, I think PJ was like, hey, you got me in the nuts, man. And Dennis Schroeder was like,
turn around and face me.
Yeah, exactly. And he gave him a little butt. I think the ejections was probably enough. And I think it would be a little bit too extreme, I think, in this case to suspend them both. But the Dennis Schroeder one, because that's first, I wondered why PJ Tucker was so upset. I thought he was accusing Schroeder of flopping because I didn't see it on the initial one. But then Schroeder does, like, it's a weird sort of way he gets his arm up under there and gets PJ right in the Tucker. So I think the PJ's response, and I think this is what is important. If you get hit in the nuts, I think it's fair to go up to the guy and say, "Don't hit me in the nuts." Like, come on, man, what are you doing here? So, but I think when they looked at it, they thought, well, we have to we have to eject PJ because he did headbutt him. He did do it. But we also then have to throw out Dennis for hitting him in the nuts, and I think that's where they'll end it myself. So, yeah, I've said, like the Giannis one, I thought he should have gotten 2 games, and history tells us a headbutt tends to get you 1 game, but I think the ejection will end this one here.
Sorry, I thought you were going to jump in there or say something.
Well, I know the Thunder were playing terrible in that third quarter, and even when Dennis Schroeder was on the floor before getting ejected. But that was the death knell of this game. That was the end of this game as soon as Schroeder was kicked off the floor. And I'm being selfish here. I want Game 6 to be a game. I want it to have some sort of merit. There's no doubt Schroeder went after PJ Tucker's testicles, no doubt about it.
Why do guys do that? That's what I don't understand.
Because you're a guard and you get picked off, and that's like he was like you didn't notice when he did it live, right?
Yeah, I know.
To do it slyly, and he got by. Like he did get by, unless if PJ Tucker didn't go up to him, then it probably wouldn't have been reviewed whatsoever.
It was an offensive foul on Tucker was the call. He so it would have just been that, but I mean the one with Chris Paul that Trey referred to there on Ben McLemore, like he whacks him in the nuts. It's like, what are you doing? Like,
I don't think that one to me was not intentional. That was the classic push off. Yes, like I'm creating room and I hit you in the nuts. I could have hit you in the stomach. I could have hit you. You're right. He goes too low. And he gets him. I just don't think that one was intentional. This one does seem a lot more. You're right. It's like, I'm going to send a little bit of message. You're like moving on the screen here. You're obviously going to try and lay me out. All right, I'll come up and uppercut you. And hopefully he doesn't get caught. And it didn't, like you guys said, unless PJ reacts. So that's how important Dennis Schroeder is, though. It's wild to think that this was a 3-point game at half. The way Lou Dort was chucking, the way Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had an offer in the first quarter, the way Gallinari had an offer in the first quarter, but they fight back because Schroeder had a 19-point first half. And then they have basically as many turnovers in the third quarter as the Rockets did the whole game. And we got to praise the Rockets for only having 11 turnovers throughout the game. James Harden's line is ridiculous, shooting 11 of 15. But OKC just gave it away over and over again that one quarter. And so it would have been hard to come back, even with Dennis Schroeder, him being their best player this whole series. Yeah, I'm totally being selfish that I want to see him back. If he gets suspended, that would be understandable. It would be understandable because that you're playing basketball, you're getting picked. You can't hit somebody's testicles because you're frustrated. It's just, he was probably frustrated with his team. But at the same time, Larry Luke, thank you for that callback, for saying that this is his second shot
to somebody's testicles, because it's becoming, if it's a habit, he's going to get reputation suspensions.
Well, but again, the Cousins one's more of a honk. Is it worse to honk or is it worse to punch? Or are they the exact same?
Anything.
Yeah.
Don't hit people in the nuts. Don't honk them in the nuts. Problem solved.
No,
Don't listen to Chris Paul when he tells you to do it.
In the nuts.
When's the last time you got hit in the nuts? You're always saying it's fine for guys to get hit in the nuts. It makes me think it's been 30 years.
It probably has. Yeah. I mean, I'm too quick. You can't hit me in the nuts. When was the last time? I think playing baseball, probably taking a baseball to the nuts is the last time I took it.
So it's been a long time. Guards always hitting big guys, always hitting big guys in the nuts too. You notice that, right? It's never a guard hitting another guard in the nuts.
Well, wait, who did Chris Paul pop?
Macklemore.
He's a 4. He's a 4 for the Rockets.
Everybody's a big on the Rockets. Maybe that's the loophole Chris Paul's figured out. Yeah. All right. So we'll see whether they get it or not. They get a game. I don't think they will. But it may not matter anyway. I mean, it matters to the Thunder. But I mean, even if Schroeder's playing, they're going to need better performances from all of their guys to give us a game 7. And the Rockets, of course, have Westbrook back. And like Trey said, he should probably feel a little bit better for game 6. Maybe even gets more minutes. Who knows? All right. Let's quickly get to the second game. That I wanted to touch on. We'll get to the Bucks Magic before we set up the Bucks Heat second round series. But LeBron and AD advance with the 131-122 victory over the Blazers in the nightcap. No Damian Lillard. McCollum put up a fight. Melo put up a fight. Just too much LeBron and AD, Trey, in the end.
Yeah, 100%. Too much LeBron and AD. They combined for 79 points, 43 for Davis. That's his best in the postseason so far. He had 11 straight in the fourth quarter. That really put the game away. LeBron was splendid again, 36, 10, and 10. Some crazy passes he was throwing last night. He looked locked in, setting up the highlight assists. And KCP actually had a pretty nice game. 4 threes, hit a couple of clutch ones, I thought. But honestly, to me, this game, the main thing I took away was major shout out to the Blazers. They're all wearing headbands out there to honor Cliff Robinson. That was great. Down to 9 players with injuries to Lillard, Collins, Little, Gabriel. They ran out 2 guys named Jalen that I had never heard of. There were 2 guys named Jalen suddenly playing playoff minutes for the Blazers, but they never quit. 36 for CJ McCollum, playing on a broken back. Huge minutes. Melo, 27 in 40 minutes. And nice games from Gary Trent and Anthony Simons. They competed all night. They trailed by 14 in the third. They battled back. They tied it in the fourth. It was a fun game. It just came down to the fact that one team had 2 All-NBA players, and the All-NBA player for the Blazers was back home. But you know, it was a fun bubble for Portland, and even the way it ended with no Lillard, they still really showed up to play last night.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really all you can sort of take, I think, from this game. In the first half, it was close, and it just sort of felt like the Lakers were like, are we going to have to actually try in this second half just to finish this game off? Because, you know, coming in without Lillard, you can understand if the Lakers thought, we're probably going to blow this team out. They're going home tomorrow. This is the end of their season. But it wasn't that way at all. You know, they fought, and a credit to Terry Stotts to get his team. They always play hard, even when they're outclassed as they were last night. And it's a tough end for the Blazers because they had such a great bubble. And you know, hopefully next season they are back to where they were, because without Nurkic for the most of this season, they clearly missed him, and they're clearly a better team when he's on the floor. So when you have the 3 of McCollum, Lillard and Nurkic, you know, that's a good 3 foundation pieces there. So if they can get some other players around them, if Gary Trent can continue the bubble season that he had, then there's some things to be excited for in Portland. But on this night, on this occasion, you just sort of felt that the Lakers had this game whenever they really wanted it. And in the second half, it took a bit of a push from them, but they just got there in the end. Yeah,
Tass, you weren't that far off with your Melo going for 40 prediction. That was you, right, the other day, but 27. But McCollum, too. I mean, God, that guy went down with a fight. I mean, he was attacking like 3 guys inside at times and somehow flipping it up, and the thing would drop. Just put up a hell of an effort. But, yeah, AD went down. When he went on that 11-0 run, it was game. Because it was close. I mean, the Blazers, I think you're right. I think the Lakers were like, yeah, they'll probably at one point here they'll just roll over and die, and they want to go home, and they just wouldn't. And then they were like, damn, we got to play hard. I thought Caruso made some great defensive plays late in that game too to spark a bit of that Lakers run. But Tass, anything to add to this one?
Well, the Lakers are the Lakers. I think that's what we should take from the first round. They got better as the series went on, and they realized, Damian Lillard's not in this game. We can just close it out when we want to close it out. And they ended up doing that despite the great fight from CJ. Nice to see him play the way he's capable of playing, and all the other guys playing up to their potential. But the Lakers that we were worried about after game one and after all the seeding games have got Anthony Davis playing ridiculous basketball. He hit 68% from mid-range this round when he was 35% in the regular season. Is that just a little bit of bad luck for the Blazers, bad matchups, or is AD just stepping up to the moment? I think it's a bit of the latter. Like, he is playing to his capabilities. He has been pushed to the number one spot by LeBron. He's trying to push him, and I think Anthony Davis is really living up to the moment. And LeBron and the leadership on that team is pushing guys like Caruso, who's playing great defensively, KCP, who's playing great defensively. They didn't really miss Avery Bradley, and Kyle Kuzma as well. So they've got a team now, and it was something that people were questioning like 10 days ago, but they look like the Lakers.
And LeBron didn't wait around to give us the Chadwick Boseman salute, the Wakanda forever. Did it in the pregame. We thought he might do it after a big shot or a big dunk or something like that, but he does the pregame, drops it there while he's taking a knee. And Tass, I just want to say too, I know you must have liked this. The Lakers announced before the game that Staples Center will serve as a voting center for the upcoming general election, and you can cast your ballots at the arena from October 30th to November 3rd, and you can use it as a drop-off site too for ballots. I know you've been sort of keeping track of that on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's going to do it. All 29 arenas are going to end up having it, whether it be in their arenas or their practice facilities. There's rules. There's so many rules in counties.
Right.
Oh, yeah, the Raptors. You're right. That doesn't matter. But they should do it as well.
What are the Celtics doing? Because I saw they said they can't use their arena for some reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of different county rules, but I'm not sure. But the Pistons, for instance, aren't offering the arena, but they're allowing their practice facility as an option. Yeah, there are workarounds. Sometimes you can't do it on election day. You can only do it for early voting the couple of weeks prior. So many frickin' rules. But the fact is that everybody signed up to try and offer, the large space that only makes sense. And hopefully it'll be the case going forward. It makes sense now because in November, there's no basketball, but hopefully, even though those arenas will be occupied, they just shut everything down. Election day should just be a national holiday. Shut it all down. Everybody gets the day off work, and those facilities should be available. It makes sense. And
it was really cool with all of these games to see the NBA hold a moment of silence for Cliff Robinson and Lute Olson and Chadwick Boseman, as we talked about there, prior to the start of the games. Those video boards, that's when they came in, used fantastically. It looked really cool with all the guys taking a knee too there, and the three people that passed behind them. Looked pretty impressive. All right, we are going to get to the Bucks Magic game, and then we'll get to the second round series with their dance with the Heat. But first, quick word from our sponsors.
If I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you a couch. I would buy you a couch. If I had $1 million, I'd go to burrow.com for your couch, maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman. If I had $1 million, I'd buy your couch. Whoa, 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 whoa. If I had $1 million, we wouldn't have to go to the store. If I had $1 million, we'd add a love seat cause it costs more. If I had $1 million, we wouldn't fight putting it together. But we would fight, of course we would. We'd just fight more, even if Burrow's stuff is super easy to assemble and wouldn't give us financial anxiety because it cost is so reasonable. We buy really expensive tables with it though. Ooh, that's right, all the fanciest designer tables. Designer tables are so delicious. Designer tables. If I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you a green chaise, but not a real green chaise. That's cruel. If I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you some art, a Picasso or a Garfunkel. If I had $1 million, well, I'd buy you an Allen key. Haven't you always wanted an Allen key? If I had $1 million, I'd buy your couch. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If I had $1 million, 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 if I had $1 million dollars, I'd be rich. Ding, 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 ding. All right, a few notes here. BNL, Barenaked Ladies, do not sue The Athletic or Burrow. Okay, please. A couple footnotes. You don't need an Allen key to put Burrow furniture together. No tools required, and it won't cost you $1 million. It's just desperate for an ad song to put together. So that's what I did. All right. Go to burrow.com/nodunks to get $75 off your purchase, plus fast and free shipping. See site for details. That's burrow.com/nodunks for $75 off.
Wow.
All right, my next song is from a new album.
No, play the old stuff.
Play the old subject. Come on, I gotta sell the new stuff. Gotta sell the new album.
No, we don't
It's
wanna
really
hear
close
the
to
new
my
stuff.
heart. All right, Terry, you ready? Eddie, 3, 2, 1. Beanie. All right.
I'm lying on this couch just like Brian Wilson. Incredible.
It's been 1 week since I ordered my couch.
Oh, man. Tash, your voice sounded beautiful there too, man. It's really great.
I was inspired by Stephen Page. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, well, let's turn to Stephen Page and get to the next ad here. What do we got?
Yeah,
God. Oh, no.
Well, it's funny because, many people thought that incident between PJ Tucker and Dennis Schroeder last night was a bad-tempered scuffle, but I've actually heard from someone down in the bubble that it was quite the opposite. When Dennis lowered his arm on PJ's screen, he was just checking to see what Manscaped products PJ uses. Turns out it was the Lawnmower 3.0. That's the best hygiene tool for the modern man, which makes sense. PJ's a modern man. Mm-hmm. And when the PJ appeared to headbutt Dennis, it was quite a noisy game, and PJ was just letting Dennis know that Manscaped just released their Shears 2.0 nail kit, which is the perfect add-on to their Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, because the Shears 2.0 is a luxury 4-piece nail kit featuring tempered stainless steel tools, which kind of match Dennis's hair there, and it includes slashed tipped tweezers, rounded point scissors, fingernail clippers, and a medium grit nail file. Now, you're in the bubble. You want to order all that stuff, or do you just want someone to send you that down in one big kit? I think that's what you want, isn't it? Because you can't chew your fingernails. Yeah.
No.
Anyway, the only reason they got ejected was because PJ had run out of the crop preserver, which is an anti-chafing ball deodorant. And Dennis said, "Hey, I have some spare back in my locker room." And PJ was like, "Well, can you give me some now?" And Dennis said, "Sure," because the crop preserver is different to the crop reviver. That's the spray-on toner, which you need after a game, of course, when you've been out there going at it against your fellow opponents and teammates. And it's made with that soothing aloe and witch hazel extracts. Oh my God, that's so fun! It smells so great, so much fun to rub on there and spray on and everything.
Very fun.
Now you can all get 20% off and free shipping with the code TheAthletic20 at manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code TheAthletic20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use code TheAthletic20. Take your grooming game to the next level.
All right. There was a shot actually of James Harden on the bench at one point. I noticed his nails. They looked immaculate. So I think he got himself his hands on this new kit there from Manscaped. Yeah, they looked incredible.
And LeBron sometimes gets the nail clippers out on the bench there as well. So.
He does. Yeah. He does, because, he used to chew them. That's right. You don't want to do that.
No, bad habit.
Did you used to chew your nails?
Yeah, look, to be honest, sometimes I do from time to time. Yeah. So, it's because it's just, especially after you clip them. When you just got to sort of tighten them up a little bit, you sort of
right,
and then it sort of one thing leads to another.
But here's a trick: put some of the ball deodorant on your fingers. Don't do that. All right, let's get back into the games here. The Bucks defeated the Magic 118-104. They take the series in 5 games. It's a douchebag sweep. I forgot to point that out with the Blazers-Lakers series there too. This was wild. I decided to go for a quick run when the Bucks had built the lead to like 20 plus points in the second half there. And I walk back in the door and the Magic suddenly have it to 3. I'm like, what the heck? And I was like, okay, I got to take a quick shower, get that ball deodorant on. And then the lead was back to 12. And I actually put the game on the radio in the shower because I was like, okay, this one must be, it's close. It was like 7 minutes ago or something.
NBA League Pass radio.
Yeah,
baby.
it was great. And, I think, Marvin Williams was knocking down some threes and they built that back to 12. And then it was sort of over. It's a game of runs. But Magic put up a fight. They just, missing a million wings. No one's playing for them. So this is now the third time, guys, the Magic in their last 3 playoff appearances have done the douchebag sweep, Lee.
Wow.
3 times in a row. They won game 1 and lost the next 4. 2012 versus the Pacers, last year versus the Raptors, and now this year versus the Bucks. Crazy. Anything to add from this game before we get to the Heat Bucks, or do you just want to jump right to that? You're making a funny face here.
This wasn't a fun series, let's be honest. Even when the Magic won that first game, we knew exactly how it was going to play out. Just not a fun series. I'm glad to get to the second round because this one is going to be a fun series.
All right.
They did fight. The Magic did fight.
Yeah.
I know. The outcome was inevitable. There's no doubt. What I want to talk about in this series is the Orlando Magic players have to leave the bubble immediately. They're going like 10, 15, 20 minutes down the road to their house and they're out of the bubble. I wonder if you're, especially like a young player like Markelle Fultz, after a couple weeks you're at home during this COVID situation, you're doing nothing. Do you go back to the bubble to watch some NBA playoffs? Do you go back and quarantine for 4 days to be able to watch the NBA finals in person? I think it's a fair question, especially during these times. I wonder if anybody goes back.
I'm not sure that's legal, but I like that. I like your thinking. You're right. What else are you doing at home? Who knows? Okay.
Yeah, weren't they saying basically that Fultz lives so close he can text his mom to just have him bring stuff over? So maybe he sticks around. He's like, the fishing is great here. I've got a lot of time during the day. Rip some lips. Mom, just send over some brownies or something.
Yeah, maybe they'll stay. Maybe they'll allow him to stay. I can't imagine they'll let you leave and come back if you're not on somebody's list. But yeah, if you said, hey, I just want to stay, I'll pay for my own room.
This place is great.
I'm really into these series moving forward here. Yeah, maybe Fultz can stay. Okay, so let's get to the Bucks Heat. Game 1 tips Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on TNT. Now, Miami won 2 of the 3 meetings from Milwaukee back in October, then in March, so sort of bookend the regular season there. But the Bucks won the August 6th seeding game, though Jimmy Butler didn't play and Goran Dragic didn't play in that one. So he'd have had some success against the Bucks in the regular season way back when. Before we get to our keys here, I just wanted to point this out. Saw the video on NBA.com this morning. It said, inside the NBA, the guys, TNT guys, Heat Bucks series look ahead. Oh, okay, I'll click on this. I'll see what they said. This was the video, guys. It was started with Shaq karate kicking a piece of wood in half. Okay, these are the keys to the Heat Bucks series. Starts with this whole bit. It was very funny. Shaq, like, no problem, just kicking, appeared to be like a 2x4. He chopped it in half with his big old foot. Then Chuck said, they got to the series. Chuck said, quote, I need to see the matchups first. But listen, it doesn't matter about the matchups. That was an exact quote. And everyone was like, you just said you got to see them and it doesn't matter. So which one is it? And then, the cherry on top of this video, Chuck called Eric Bledsoe Eric Randolph or Eric Rudolph. I don't know. A pretty prominent player in this series, Eric Bledsoe, but Emmy award-winning Chuck calling him Eric Randolph or Eric Rudolph, and then was laughing because he sort of knew he messed up. Anyway, I love that video. Go check it out. What a breakdown. I hope ours is a little bit better, but maybe not. Keys to the series, Tass, Heat Bucks. What are you looking at?
I think the TNT guys are starting to get extra delirious, just like we are a little bit doing shows every day here. But I'll just come out and say it. I'm taking the Heat. I think that the Bucks have not been convincing whatsoever in their 5 games, while the Heat were solid every single night, especially defensively. And I think the Heat will slow down Milwaukee's supporting players. Giannis, he's going to be great. He was 30, 16, and 6 30 points, 16 boards, and 6 assists in that first round, shooting nearly 60%. But I think the Heat have a better matchup for him in Bam Adebayo. But I'm not going to say that they're going to slow him down because he's too good. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, this Heat defense, I think, is going to slow down Chris Middleton, who's supposed to be the number 2 guy, supposed to be the all-star. He didn't have a great first round. They tried to get him going, 15 points, 36% from the floor, and he's going to have Jimmy Butler on him. Is Brook Lopez, who was a little bit more reliable in that first round, going to be able to step up? I don't like seeing this roster go 11 deep with, Marvin Williams and Kyle Korver can be on your bench. But if your 2 and 3 guys aren't getting the ball enough and aren't producing, then I don't think it matters. Mm-hmm. And I think the 3-point shooting is going to be better for the Miami Heat. I think that's going to beat the Bucks. And I don't know what's going on. We've heard a lot about the mental capacity for these guys, or the mental fatigue, the mental struggle. Listen, sometimes the Bucks players not having that home court advantage, it could be affecting them. And I'm not giving them an excuse or anything, but I'm just saying the way they're playing does not look anything like the Milwaukee team that played at home and was on whatever it was, a 66 win pace. Maybe Chris Middleton doesn't feel like it's like home because he doesn't look like himself whatsoever. While a guy on the other side like Goran Dragic, for the Miami Heat, who's been an incredible scorer, maybe he does feel it like it's like home, even more so at home than when he plays in Miami, because he's hanging out with all his Balkan bros, all the guys from former Yugoslavia, the Yugosphere. Look at all these dudes. He's hanging out with Boban and the Joker and Luka. Maybe he feels great while some of the Bucks don't feel all that good. I just cannot just jump to the conclusion that the Bucks are going to play great all of a sudden. So That's it. I'm done. I'm not buying in to the supporting cast of the Bucks. Okay,
so you're expecting more of an Eric Randolph than an Eric Bledsoe.
I didn't even mention him because I don't think if you're relying on Eric Bledsoe, who hasn't been able to prove it playoff after playoff, then that's a problem.
Yeah, he has moments. Yeah, you're right. The consistency of a Middleton, a Bledsoe, and I would throw in a Brook Lopez and his shooting can be hit or miss, or at least has been in the bubble setting. Okay, Trey, what about you? What are you zeroing in on?
Well, you hit on it, Skeets. Is he going to be Eric Randolph or is he going to be Eric Rudolph? It's impossible to tell at this point. No, I'm kidding. For the Heat to win this series, Jimmy Butler has to be, at worst, the second best player, maybe after Giannis. He's got to clearly be the best guy for the Heat because he is a level ahead of Chris Middleton, but we need the full Jimmy. The defense has to be there. He's got to limit Middleton, which is something that Jimmy Butler certainly can do. You got to get his points at the free throw line just to keep the scoreboard ticking over. Shot 4 for 7 from 3 in the series against the Pacers. So maybe Jimmy Butler has found his 3-point shot. I don't necessarily think that that's something you need to rely on, but you do need Jimmy Butler putting pressure on the rim every single moment he's out there because that opens up the drive and kick game for the Heat, and that gets them a lot of open threes out on the perimeter. Then when it's nut cutting time, Jimmy's got to pull a Manscaped ad and be the best in the series. He's got to get the lawnmower 3.0. because he can be the best closer. You know, it can be tough for a big guy like Giannis to be a closer because sometimes he can't get an entry pass or they're laying off him, trying to challenge him to shoot from outside. Jimmy Butler has been used to having the ball in his hands in fourth quarters for a long time in this league. And we've seen a couple of times already during the bubble that he's shown up in the fourth and won a game for the Heat. So Butler's got to be huge. He's got to almost match Giannis, if not just severely outplay Chris Middleton if Miami gets a win in this series.
Yeah, this one's tough because are we like collectively, and some people I'm seeing on Twitter, are we putting too much stock into like what we've seen in the bubble setting, right? With the Heat playing the way they are, the Bucks sort of struggling, and are we forgetting, you know, that unbelievable Bucks team we saw from the regular season, like Taz had, the 66 win pace Bucks. I just wonder, like, is there a happy medium? Does it matter at all? Like, all that's old news. It's what's happening right now. How are you playing right now? So, Lee, what do you think about that? And then what are you watching in this series?
I mean, that's how it feels though right now, because the Miami Heat shot 40% on threes in their first round sweep of Indiana, who, you know, they didn't blow them out. Indiana were a reasonable competitive team against them. But then against the Bucks during those 3 games, the Heat shot 44% in those 3 games on 18 threes a game. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because Milwaukee give up that 3-point shot and Miami have got guys who can shoot it. Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Crowder hit a couple, Butler hit a couple. He doesn't shoot a lot of threes. Kelly Olynyk can come off the bench and hit threes. And they've also got Kendrick Nunn, who played a handful of minutes at the end. He can shoot threes. So I think Miami's going to be like, well, if you want to let us shoot threes, we are going to shoot them as many as we can. And we're shooting them well. And we especially shoot them well against the Milwaukee Bucks. So I like that. And I also think there's a couple of factors going against Milwaukee in this series. Not having home court advantage then basically gives home court advantage to the Miami Heat because it takes away that advantage that Milwaukee would have normally. And also, there's a lot of pressure, I think, in this series on Coach Budenholzer because he's proven to be a very good regular season coach. But like last season in the playoffs, when the Raptors changed things up, he didn't really have a counter. And in the past with the Atlanta Hawks as well, again, you can lose to a LeBron James team, but sort of Bud gets to a point where a system works, and then if it doesn't work, he kind of is like, well, I don't really have anything else. So that's going to be something I'm going to watch in this series. So I think Miami's got lots to feel confident about. Again, you mentioned the 2 wins in the regular season, which was like a lifetime ago, but they're going to feel confident. They're going to play well against them. They have no injury concerns of note. Jimmy Butler, I think, picked up a bit of a shoulder injury in that last series, but he's not going to use that as an excuse. He's going to play. They've got a closer in Butler. They've got a vet. He can close out Middleton. So there's so many things to like about where the direction of where Miami has gone so far compared to where Milwaukee's been, where it's like we're still waiting to see that team from the Bucks that were so impressive during the regular season. And I like Miami too. I think Miami's going to feel very, very confident about this series.
The other thing with Budenholzer, will he stop playing like 10 or 11 guys? Like, will he tighten up the rotation, which you usually do in the playoffs, and give Giannis and Middleton 40 minutes? You say no, he's too stubborn.
I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he loves the democratic type of offense. Everybody gets a turn. Everybody's going to play. It doesn't seem like it's changing. I just don't see it happening right now. And I'm more worried about Jimmy Butler, taking away Chris Middleton in a way he sort of took out TJ Warren in the first round. Like Chris Middleton hasn't been able to step up to the task here. And Jimmy Butler, if he's getting physical with Chris Middleton and takes him out of it, that's a big problem. And then if they continue to play 10 or 11 guys, Chris Middleton isn't going to get a lot of touches. And if he's, laying off a little bit, I think Brook Lopez is probably going to get more shots than Chris Middleton, which is a little bonkers. But at least Brook is stepping up to the moment and shooting a ton. But yeah, it's worrisome. I think if you're going so deep, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Man, I can't wait to see how Brook Lopez defends the Heat offense, though, because they run a lot of dribble handoffs for their shooters, with Bam being the guy that's sort of like hands it off, sets the pick. And it's like, is Brook Lopez going to get out on Duncan Robinsons and Tyler Heroes? And even if Jimmy's feeling it and Dragic can hit the 3, they run a lot of that. And you're asking Brook to be way out there. So you're right, Lee. Like, will Budenholzer, will he go small? Maybe he says Brook Lopez on that end of the floor is not working. You like what you can give, he gives you on the offensive end, but maybe it is more Giannis at the 5 and Marvin Williams as your other big. And I wouldn't be surprised if Spo goes to Kelly Olynyk as a shooting, big man out there too. So will Bud just does he just dig in his heels like he's done before? And no, this gets us 60 plus wins in the regular season and we're sticking with it and our guys will come through? Or does he switch it up a bit? Do you leave Crowder? They're going to give threes, but it's who you give the threes to, right? Give Crowder the threes, give Iguodala when he's out there the threes. Those guys can knock them down, but they're very, very streaky. And I'd rather them shooting a lot more than those other 3 guys in Hero, Robinson, and Dragic letting them go. But my key is the Dragon, because we talked about him all first round series, how just incredible he looks. In the opening round, he was averaging 23, 5, and 4, shooting nearly 50% from the floor, 41% from 3. He hit timely bucket after timely bucket. Yeah, Butler's the closer. Dragic is right there. If Butler's the hanky, Dragic is the Dwayne Ward, because that guy is playing like FIBA Dragic. I've said that, where he's so in control and he's so damn crafty as it is. But the one thing the Bucks do well is with Giannis and Brook, you're not scoring at the rim. And that's will be fascinating to see if Butler can try and score over them at the rim or get to the line. But Dragic doesn't go all the way to the rim. He does these little things where he just the little floater, or he stops on a dime and then does a little turnaround. And he doesn't really attack fully to the rim. He just gets to the paint where he's really, really comfortable with these little flip shots. So I wonder if he can continue that. And if he does, and he can outplay Eric Randolph /Rudolph /Bledsoe, then that's That's huge for the Heat. If Dragic plays at this level, paired with the Heat shooters and the defense locking in and trying to slow those other guys around Giannis down, yeah, I'm liking Miami's chances in this. So unless there's anything else to add, we've got a couple of you guys leaning towards Miami.
Is this a revenge series for Eric Randolph? Basically, Goran Dragic and him were teammates with Phoenix, and Goran Dragic hated it, said, "Get me out of here." And then Eric Bledsoe eventually said, "Hey, I also hate it here. Get me out of here." So I don't know. They've got a little bit of history between the two of them. Maybe that fires Rudolph up a little bit.
Maybe. Did Jimmy Butler and Middleton play a Bucks Bulls series too back in the day, Trey? Or am I crazy?
They definitely played 2015. I don't know if I assume Middleton was a Buck at that point.
I think they were. I mean, he wasn't the Middleton, of today, a 2-time All-Star at that point yet. But I don't know about the Dragic Bledsoe. I'm taking Dragic in that matchup if they do have some beef, especially the way he's playing. But okay, Tass, sounds like you're taking the Heat. How many games?
Yeah, unless Giannis can overcome his teammates not producing, I think Miami's got enough. And the non-home court's an equalizer for sure. I think Miami will be raining down threes because Milwaukee likes to give them up. So going with the hedge, I'm picking the underdog, but of course I'm going to say in 7. That's how you play it safe. Yeah, I'll take Miami in 7.
All right, Lee, why don't you go next because you were also leaning towards the Heat.
Yeah, I'll take the Heat and I'll give them 6 games. I'll say I think they really. I mean, look, this one could blow up in my face for sure. And you know what? Great if the Bucks do that, but because there's been this is definitely the sexy pick right now. People are like, this is the one.
Lee, this feels a lot like the Thunder Rockets series going into that, where a lot of people are taking the Thunder. Yeah, okay.
But I really do think this is again just a really nice matchup for Miami. They're going to shoot the threes. They're well coached. They're well prepared. They've got a great defense and they've got a closer. And also, talk about that Brook Lopez. If he comes out on the pick and roll and then Bam, being as athletic and quick as he is, he's just going to go straight to the hoop, and they've got lobs there all day long. So, give me Heat and 6. Why not?
Okay, wow. We got a Heat and 7. We got a Heat and 6. Now, Trey usually counters, but where are you going with this one, Trey?
Take me down to the creamy city where Bucks are green and the city is creamy. I'm going Cream City, baby. Bucks in 6. I think there's a lot of pressure on the Heat shooters to shoot the lights out every single game. Duncan Robinson, his first playoff experience. Same for Tyler Hero. Eventually the Bucks are going to find a way to take at least one of them out of the series. You'll still get some kind of shots, but it's a lot different when you're getting 10 attempts and you got to make 4 of them than when you're getting 3 attempts and you got to make 2 of them. That's a lot of pressure for a couple of young guys. And I mean, I've been putting a lot of stock into what's happening in the bubble compared to the regular season, but this Bucks team is really, really good. They can really lock down defensively, and hopefully that's going to be the case for my pick. I think the Heat is going to definitely be the trendy pick. I think I would probably rather like to see the Heat win it, but ultimately I'm rolling with the Bucks.
Oh boy. I mean, look, it feels like it could be similar to the Raptors beating the Bucks last year, like where the Heat could replicate that to some extent. You could slow down Giannis as much as you can. You can take away the other guys because you might have the better supporting cast. You can knock down threes and timely threes at that. You can sort of you squint and you can see why the Heat could win this. And again, even had success against them. And I sort of like in a close game, the Heat are not going to blow the Bucks out. That's the thing. They really aren't. They're going to be close games in their wins, even if they get a couple. But I like Jimmy. Do you take Jimmy over Giannis in a 1-point game with 2 minutes to go? Do you like the Heat and Jimmy more than the Bucks? I guess I sort of do. And I have no faith in Bud to give Giannis 44 minutes, to give Middleton 40-plus minutes. I think he's going to have to do it, and maybe he will and shut me up. But I'm going to go Heat and 7. Heat and 7 in a really close game. I'm so excited for these 2 Eastern Conference series, obviously with the Celtics Raps tipping today too, and a lot of us saying that one can go 7. So it's the trendy pick, no doubt. I like your swerve there, Trey. Just like you convinced me. You almost convinced me again with the when you got me to go to the Rockets.
Up on now, you're going to be right on that one. You could be right on this one if you change your mind.
No,
this very second.
No, I'm going Heat. I'm going Heat and 7. Oh man, just give us a 7-round series. That's all I really care about, guys. We're going to get to tweet of the night. We're going to get to setting up today's game. Again, that Celtics Raptors game 1 of their 2nd-round series. But first, a word from Grammarly.
We got a bunch of short names here on No Dunks. Trey Kirby, Tass Mellis, J.E. Skeets, Lee Ellis, Jason Doyle. We're talking 10 characters max. Not an Antetokounmpo or McConaughey in the bunch, but people still look like absolute idiots when they misspell our names. There's no A in Trey. Tass is not a spinning cartoon character, and Lee Ellis with 2 E's is either an actor, a surgeon, or an Air Force general. All of these foolish mistakes could have been avoided by using Grammarly. Whether you're communicating with your team online, working on a project, or emailing your favorite podcast, Grammarly is the digital writing tool you can always rely on to get your message across clearly and effectively. It works across multiple platforms, including Gmail, Google Docs, and Slack to help you write, catch mistakes, and communicate confidently and clearly no matter where you are. 20 million people use Grammarly, and you can sign up for free to get real-time spelling and grammar checks as you write. If you want deeper insights on your writing, Grammarly Premium gives you advanced feedback on tone, word choice, punctuation, and more. I've been using the premium service. It's great. I especially like how GP warns you about all the superfluous, unnecessary, extraneous, unneeded, redundant words you may be using. No one likes a rambler unless it's an ad read or a Yeti. It's the perfect writing tool for anyone who wants to stand out with every word. So harness the power of Grammarly on every platform by using their desktop editor, browser plugin, and mobile apps. Right now, our listeners can get 20% off Grammarly Premium when you sign up at Grammarly.com/NoDunks. That's 20% off Grammarly Premium at Grammarly.com/NoDunks. GRAMARLY.com/NODUNKS.
Thought that was an Usher song for a second. Okay, let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
What we got, Tassie?
This was a very easy one. This comes from our friend Mark Spears, who tweeted about George Hill missing the national anthem. Bucks guard George Hill says he missed the playing of the national anthem because he was in the midst of his pregame ritual of, quote, taking a shit. And then George Hill was asked about it. He said, yeah, I've been doing this for 4 years.
Since I was born.
I was a little surprised that it's only been 4 years that George Hill has been doing that pregame. He hasn't been doing it for his whole NBA career, but feels good to do it for the last 4 years, and that's why he's missed it. And he said, you guys were in the hallway, and so you saw me. You guys were slacking off doing nothing. But I've been doing it year in and year out. So Mark Spears, getting the scoops of the poops. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mark Spears. Well done. Well done. I mean, that was easy. It was an easy one. Trey sent that one out, and we didn't have to overthink it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Giannis overheard it, by the way. Mark Spears also tweeted. Giannis overheard George Hill saying that to the media, and Giannis said, quote, man, that's big. I'm not sure what he's referring to.
Well, I was going to say, I thought you said you overheard Hill taking a dump and then said, man, that's big.
Yeah, you can interpret that many ways. I think he's interpreting George Hill saying it to the media that, man, you're revealing your secret about your pregame ritual. That's huge. So yeah, that's why he missed it. There's no protest happening. He wasn't missing the national anthem for any other reason other than you feel good after you lose a pound. Yeah. I mean, a lot of athletes do that.
I think that's a lot of people have their pregame routine like that. They
but you know what's interesting about that, Lee, is like the timing. I don't know about you. I can't just take a dump whenever I want. So like these games are like moving around. Like you got a 1 o'clock start, you got a 6:30 start, you got a later. It's like it's a different.
Yeah. I think you got to take control because I can kind of schedule one like that.
Schedule.
Google Calendar.
Reminder. 5 minutes.
If you have a big meal and you've got something to do where you're going to be away and you're on the court because you can't go halfway through the game or anything. I mean, you can, but you can't if you know what I mean. Like you don't want to. So you sort of just, you give your body a little bit of a nudge and moves it along. You can do it. You can do it. I'm sure you can do it. I mean, look, I hate it when it comes to like running races. When you run a race, they're usually at like 7 a.m. Yeah.
And if you're going to run a long race, you want to take a dump before you run that race.
Yeah.
It's like what I find myself doing is I'm just going to the bathroom back and forth like 4 or 5 times at like 6 a.m, like trying to coerce it out of me. I guess you're a little better at it, Lee.
Well, yeah, I think I mean, like for me, it's anytime you've got to go on a long flight or anything, or not even a long flight, just a flight. You don't want to be at the airport and have to use the airport facilities, or worse, the
Unless
airport.
they're in Singapore.
Yeah, well, unless they're in Singapore, then it's like you hold on for dear life if you get to the airport. But it's just that routine. So you sort of prepare yourself. You're like, okay, I know I'm going to have to do this, and you just sort of get ready, and you go. You can do it.
I mean, some people can do it. I don't think that's easy for everybody. Some people are like clockwork, man. Like, almost to the minute, every day is when that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about you is you're in and out too.
Well, yeah.
You can do it at a timeout, no problem.
Yeah.
If anyone could do it during a marathon, I could pop into a porta potty and be right back out in 10 seconds later. I'm not going to lose one.
Those porta potties, like I've seen them at like outdoor music venues and stuff. Like,
you've seen porta potties? Yeah.
You guys heard of these?
Those big plastic things where it's like there's no
porta potties.
Yeah, there's no
like
running
on the
water.
inside. You open it up. There's a toilet.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh my god, it's like that scene in Slumdog Millionaire, where they use that thing and it just goes down and it's like, oh my god, it's gross. Just gross. Humans are gross, man. We're gross.
Okay, yeah, they haven't mastered porta potty, cleanliness yet, but no. I would say it's better than it used to be.
Yes. Okay. There's actually a really good Australian movie called Kenny, and it's all about that, and it's hilarious. You should watch it.
There's a movie about
like
porta potties.
Basically, he's a that's what he does. He's a plumber, but it's all about that. Let me see if I can get it here for you. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sort of intrigued, actually.
Oh,
yeah, I'm hoping you're going to share your screen here and we can just watch this whole movie together. See what's going down.
I thought that was a Canadian show, Kenny versus Shitty.
Boo to that. All right, well, you look for this movie called Kenny that's about porta potties in Australia.
He'll get it for
you, man. Next time we do a movie review, we do a film session. Watch this. It's hilarious. It's actually really good.
All right. Tass, what are we looking at today in terms of games?
Triple header, a couple round 1 games. A little later in the day, Clippers and Dallas, Game 6, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN, and then Denver, Utah, also Game 6, 8:30 Eastern on TNT. But what we're looking at here is the 1:00 Eastern, round 2, Game 1, Boston, Toronto. Let's get her rolling. Love how the NBA has not staggered all these games, so they have to start at the same time. I guess that would be non-staggering, but the fact that they're not putting this off until it could have been off, for several days here. But yeah, I guess the hiatus here the last few days has also kind of pushed these back anyway and got Kyle Lowry some fresh heel/ankles apparently. So hey, what do you got in this series? I mean, has anybody changed their opinion since yesterday? No, you can't, right?
No.
You can't change it, but this is going to be a fun series. I really hope it lives up to it because these are two very, very good teams, and it's going to be fun. And it's good to get to this point because some of those first round matchups, they're not that exciting. The Raptors and Brooklyn wasn't exciting. Talked about Orlando and Milwaukee. This one though should be everything. So let's hope it is.
I'm actually just like you're talking about the scheduling here, Tass, like them starting this one here today, starting Heat Bucks tomorrow. You wonder, like, it could be weird if some of these Western Conference series go to 7 games, right? Like we could have the Nuggets, Jazz, it could go 7. Maybe the Mavericks pull it off here in Game 6 tonight and they push a Game 7. Those series could be very far behind. I guess they would almost be like 2 games behind, maybe even 3 in the case of a Raptor Celtics series, which is a little odd, right?
Yeah, for sure. It is odd, but shout out to the Eastern Conference teams for taking care of business in either 4 or 5 games, just getting it done. Let's get to the better teams here. Let's move on. But yeah, we've got some good series. Those 3 series are still live in the Western Conference. It's unfortunate Kristaps Porzingis won't be around, but that was a great series. Denver, Utah has been entertaining at times, and the Rockets Thunder could also go 7 games. So yeah, the Eastern Conference series were a little anticlimactic, but we've had enough juice, I think, so far. But hey, you have 16 teams in there. That's what's going to happen. That's why you're going to expand this tournament to make it 20, 22. Just put the whole 30 teams in there.
No.
Let her rip.
Let's not that. Okay, so what snack do you want me to bring over today, Tess? What time you want us over there? I thought you had that TV that you could take anywhere. What happened to that service? You used to have that.
Yeah, it's called AT&TV. But unfortunately, it's too hot outside. It's dead as summer. It's 95 degrees. I don't have a shaded area.
Your TV's going to melt. Eh?
I thought about it bringing over to your house, but it wouldn't work. Cable service wouldn't work.
No, we don't worry. We can fire it up on the computer. No problem. We'll do it. We'll do it. All right, guys, let's call it there for today. Email us your questions and comments to nodunks@theathletic.com. Grab yourself a sweet No Dunks t-shirt over at nodunks.com. If you listen to the podcast on iTunes, leave your boys a 5-star rating and review. Really, really appreciate that. Helps us in terms of the rankings. Enjoy the games today. Good luck to the Beantown boys even. I hope it's a close game and the Raptors ultimately pull it out. We will see you tomorrow, Monday, with a brand new episode of No Dunks. Join us live at 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. Make sure you click that little notification button on YouTube. Subscribe and then click that little bell button so you know when we're live. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, the Canadian show I was thinking of was actually Tim and Shit, not Tim. That was the porno potty. Actually, Lee, do you want to tell us about Kenny? I love you, Sid 60. You want us to tell us about Kenny, the movie?
It's there it is. There, yeah, that's Shane Jacobson. It's just about a guy who does it for a living, and it's a fun story. I don't know how to sort of like sell it to you unless you go and watch it. But he goes on a bit of an adventure. He meets a lady, and it's just
this
hilarious.
looks like the worst season of The Bachelor ever.
Yeah, this looks. I don't know, but it's got a great tagline. He's number one with your number two.
yeah.
That's it.
Sells itself.
Embrace the day, people.